Whoa, this crazy hair. Look at that, you guys. You guys like these little things sticking up here? I'm trying to grow this part of my hair. I'm trying to grow that part right here, but I'm kind of in that weird in-between stage. So it's kind of like I got a little bit of that porcupine hair. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Look at that, eh? Happy Monday, everyone. November 25th. We're moving into the last week of November. Gang, gang, baby. November is the worst month of the year. Let's get this shit over with, baby. I'm ready for December, daddy. I'm ready for the holiday season. Got to get those fucking advent calendars out. What would be like a spiritual version of an advent calendar? Fucking just like a little magic mushroom. You know what I mean? Like a little ayahuasca. Even though you couldn't put that in an advent calendar, shows what I know about ayahuasca. Because don't you drink ayahuasca? But maybe you guys can let me know. What would be a spiritual version of an advent calendar? Rather than a little fucking chocolate, maybe like a little chocolate mushroom. Maybe there's like a crystal. Imagine how disappointing that would be. You have an advent calendar and you open it up. It's like December 7th and it's like a fucking crystal. It's like, fuck you. Like, I don't want a crystal. I want a chocolate. That's the reason why I got an advent calendar. I don't want a crystal that is going to maybe balance my energy, or maybe it's just going to be this crazy placebo effect. I don't know. But yeah, you guys can let me know in the chat section. What do you think is a spiritual version of an advent calendar? Last week in November, everyone. How's everyone doing? If you guys are watching this live, don't be shy. Say what's up in the chat section. Let me know that you're a human being and not a robot. That would be much appreciated. When I know there's people watching this, it always fuels my fire, because sometimes I record these and it's just me speaking to the abyss. Lots of people watch the replay, but when I'm doing it live, it's like I'm fucking doing some spiritual Shakespearean monologue or something. So it fuels that fire, you guys, when I know people are watching this. So don't be shy. I've had a lot of caffeine and I haven't eaten anything. So we're going to see what's going to happen here. You guys, today we're going to chat about karmic relationship breakups. So you guys have probably heard me talk about, there's Uluwatu. There's this place in Bali called Uluwatu that I went to, and I would always pronounce it Uluwatu. So we're going to talk about karmic relationship breakups and kind of jumping off of this theme of attachment ruptures. You guys have probably heard me talk about this term, attachment ruptures. Maybe you guys have, maybe you haven't, but that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today. So, okay. So this sort of topic, as we get into it here, is going to be about why are some relationships so hard to let go of? It's often just common in relationships sort of in general where, maybe we overstay our welcome a little bit. Some people are probably in relationships like 5 years too long. But that's just like a theme in general where sometimes we stay too long in a relationship, right? And so in a karmic relationship breakup, or a relationship that holds really, really big attachment weight, it's a really, really challenging situation. It runs really, really deep. And the thing about this, you guys, is that in order to really move into like a vibration of true love, in order to like really, really learn what true love is, we often have to deal with the deepest threads and cords of attachment in our body, right? And majority of the population doesn't deal with this, right? The majority of the population, we're intertwined in relationships where it's kind of like our attachment and love is like doing jujitsu with each other. You guys know that? So like most relationships, it's like our attachment wounding and our desire for love, they're doing jujitsu. You know what I mean? They're kind of like pretzeling with each other. So that's like what most relationships are kind of like love jujitsu, where attachment and your capacity for love, or your knowing of love in the purity of it, of its essence, they're kind of doing jujitsu, right? And when I talk about this idea of like, okay, how do we prepare for sacred union? How do we move on to a timeline of sacred union? We have to deal with the deepest threads and cords of attachment. And really what attachment really is, you guys, it's so much of it is fear. So much of it is fear. It's a way that we like stabilize our system. It's a way that we try to, if you want to think about how the ego would sort of construct a reality, right? So much of the ego is about, hold on, I'm going to sneeze. I feel I might sneeze. Get the fuck out. You guys, that means the ancestors are leaving from my nostrils. My great grandmother just is on a slip and slide in my right nostril. Just get the fuck out. And so the ego identifies with these constructs, right? Where it's like so much of our attachment wiring. And in the most basic sense, if you guys have read those attachment books, we have disorganized attachment, which is anxious avoidant attachment. We have anxious attachment. We have avoidant attachment, secure attachment. This is to do with this, but it's kind of beyond this, right? So the ego identifies with constructs. It's a way that we anchor reality. It's a way that we anchor reality. And so our attachment wiring or our attachment wounding is basically how the survivalist nervous system constructs reality. It's how the survivalist nervous system constructs reality. Where our attachment wounding and our attachment wiring is holding in the body is right in your fucking face. That's because the way that we extort and co-regulate with parents in early infancy is through nonverbal communication. Think of like a baby, like, a baby's like all googly-eyed, and it's all these sort of the patterns of intimacy, the patterns of co-regulation, safety in our system, of attachment pairing and attachment bonding, or trying to orient towards a secure attachment is so much of how in the first 3 years of our life that we're trying to co-regulate with the eyes of mom and dad, right? So it's nonverbal communication. So this is why, say you're hanging out with like a dude, as a woman, you're like, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? Like, I don't know what you're feeling. You know what I mean? It's, like, are you a hollow person? You know what I mean? Are you a tin man? Like, are you mechanical? Like, do you need to update your iOS or your software, you fucking robot? You can't understand what they're feeling, right? So much of how we show emotions is in our face. You know what I mean? We're happy, or we're in grief, or we're scared, or we're angry. So much of that is in the face. And so say you're a woman, you hang out with a guy and you're like, I don't know what he's feeling. And so much of it is you're actually looking at his fucking face and you're like, give me something to work with, right? And when you can't read what's going on in his face, it basically means he's an emotional iceberg, right? He's an emotional iceberg. Like, that fucker just totally sunk the relationship Titanic. He's an emotional iceberg. You don't know what he's feeling because all the emotions are existing below. And so ultimately what this is he doesn't want to reveal what he's feeling, or he doesn't feel safe enough to reveal what he's feeling. And so much of that was based on those early years of infancy when we were trying to find healthy co-regulation with mom and dad. Is it safe for me to have a fucking need? Is it safe for me to have a need? And sometimes we learn in those early years, right? And you guys, think about this. Think about a parent. Think about your father. Say your father was around when you were like 2 years old, but he was like going through all his own sort of shit, and he wasn't like emotionally present with you. He was distracted. He didn't know how to show up for you. And when you would look into his eyes, you felt this distance. You felt this sort of emptiness. You felt this distraction. You felt like he wasn't there with you. Like, that's the level of nuance that we're dealing with. That's the level of nuance that we're dealing with. And these attachment wounds and these attachment wiring are going to move into like unhealthy attachment zones when either the parent or parents were not able to co-regulate nonverbal eye-to-eye communication, that they either couldn't co-regulate at all or they were inconsistent in the co-regulation. They couldn't they couldn't meet our needs, or they couldn't consistently meet our needs. Think about when you were a baby and the parent just made you cry it out. What that's going to do is going to hold survival trauma in your heart. It's going to hold survival trauma in your throat chakra, and also the face, the jaw. So when we're actually healing attachment trauma, we're opening up the face. We're actually saying it's okay for me to be in my expression. So On this path, you guys, of moving into God or coming into relationship with God, we typically need to experience a really big attachment rupture. What this essentially means is I call it the survival scuba mask. You know what I mean? So when you go through an attachment rupture, it's like there's this mask that's being pulled off of your face. It's your survival scuba mask that has led to you living underwater. Look at that. We got some relations because he was like an emotional iceberg. Most of his emotions were living underwater. Now we got a survival scuba mask. Look at all these themes we got going on, guys. So when you go through this attachment rupture, you're ripping off this survival scuba mask. God's like, oh, fuck, just get this fucking thing off. All the inconsistent attachment needs, so you got to pull it off. That's why when you're experiencing pain behind your eyes, burning behind your eyes, you got trauma in your jaw, that's like God that's trying to like take off this survival scuba mask that has probably been there for thousands of years. It's not just yours, it's been inherited, right? It's been generationally sort of implanted on your face. Here's the thing, guys. When the face opens, the third eye opens, and then the crown opens. Then God becomes your bitch. Seriously. So you got to rip off this survival scuba mask right here, which then the third eye comes, which is the revelation of the God path or the higher self path. And then the crown blasts wide open and you move into union with God. But when you go through a karmic spiritual relationship, what's really, really happening in you guys and why it's so fucking hard, it's not even about this person. It's not even about this person. This person is a manifestation of the completion of something or attempting to be the completion of something. Something probably from your life and also generationally. And so when we go through an attack, the deeper the relationship that we experience, the deeper the sort of soul relationship that we experience, and we endure an attachment rupture, the deeper the attachment that is purging, probably meaning the longer this attachment has been living generationally through the ancient sort of ancestors that is now being broken. It's being broken in our body, which means our survival scuba mask, it's being ripped off by God, saying, it's time for you to come into union with me, motherfucker. It's essentially God saying, we are going to go through this human attachment rupture. So now you can belong to me, baby. Now you can belong to the angels. But what happens? Imagine a tornado is shaking all the pillars that you identify your reality to be. All your identities, all your patterns, everywhere how you associate yourself and how you associate reality. There's this attachment emotional tornado that's coming, and it's trying to rip everything out of the ground, right? It's trying to rip everything out of the ground. So what typically happens with most human beings, we kind of begin to come to the edge where we feel the tornado shaking. We're like, ooh. What we have to do is we have to allow the tornado to whip us up. You know, you got flying fucking cows, you got a tractor, right? You're in fucking Oklahoma, right? Just a tornado comes and it rips everything up. You got a flying fucking cow that's hitting you in the face. You got a tractor. You're like, holy shit, this is scary. And so you're like, do I let go? Do I surrender? Do I allow this sort of emotional sort of tornado to whip me up into the ether, to bring me into union with God? Fuck that. I'm not doing that. Are you fucking crazy? What? I'm just going to let go and let this tornado whip me up into the ether and get hit by a flying fucking cow? Are you serious? Is that what I'm going to do? No. So what happens is we go back or we hold on. We fucking cling. Oh shit, I'm not fucking going anywhere. We white knuckle it, daddy. We just hold on to that shit. You know, most people relationally, it's kind of like that feeling when they're on a plane in turbulence. Like, fucking, I'm not going, and I'm not surrendering. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm holding on for dear fucking life. That's what most people are doing when they come up to this potential attachment rupture relationally. They're like, this is terrifying. I'm going to strap on my seatbelt and I'm not going anywhere, right? So we're coming up to fear in the survival nervous system. Again, fear in the survival nervous system that has probably been inherited for generations and generations. The survival scuba mask, God's trying to rip it off our face. And we're like, fuck that, God, I'm holding on to this. And so it usually begins to move through in increments. This is why a karmic relationship is so hard to leave. The attachment is so fucking deep. It feels like a tornado that is trying to literally fuck up your entire life. And so you come up to that edge, and what you hear is God whispering, you have to let go. You have to let go. This is not how it's supposed to feel. Love should not be this hard. And you're like, fuck you, God. I'm putting on my fucking seatbelt. I'm strapping on. I understand what you're doing, but no, I'm staying right here. We hold on to the survival scuba mask. We're not going anywhere. Then what happens is things continue to get hard. We suffer, we suffer, we suffer. Imagine a dog chasing its tail, right? Most people do this relationally for years. A dog chasing its fucking tail. It's the same thing. So when we continue to go back to the karmic relationship, you guys, it's the same thing as a dog fucking chasing its tail. Just imagine a dog chasing its tail, sometimes for 3 years. So when you imagine your relational patterns, imagine a dog chasing his tail for 3 years without fucking stopping. Just have that image in your head right now. A dog chasing his tail or her tail. The dog, I don't know what gender the dog is, okay? But it's chasing its tail, right? Imagine that for 3 years. That's most people in a karmic relationship. And what they're essentially doing is, well, maybe things will be different. It's like a dog, right? The dog's like, you know what? I've been doing this for 2 years. I bet today's the day that I'm going to catch that tail, and God, I will prove you wrong. God, I will prove you wrong. I'm a golden retriever. I got some skills. Even though I have this rib cage that's in the way, I'm going to be able to catch my tail today, God. You just watch me. God, you just watch me. I ate a good meal this morning. My owner took me for a walk. Now today I'm going to catch my tail. Today's the day. Nope, today wasn't the day. Maybe tomorrow will be different. You guys understand this is what's happening relationally when you come up to an attachment rupture? Most people want to love without experiencing their pain. We're like, yeah, like we bargain with God. We're like, God, maybe I can be like, God, like we slip God 100, right? We slip God 100 and we're like, God, maybe if I give you this 100, what do you say you hook me up, What do you say, God? I slipped this 100 here and you hook me up, Daddy. Come on. I've been praying every day this week, every night this week. You and I, we have an understanding, right? Like I'm fucking special, right? I'm going to be able to like have everything I want relationally, like fucking sacred union, like bang, bang, fucking amazing relationship without facing my pain. I'm going to be one of the special ones, right, God? Like you're going to hook me up. That's what we try to do. We try to bargain with God. God, maybe I'm going to get this epic relationship without having to be swept up in that emotional tornado. Maybe I'm going to be lucky. So we bargain. Same thing as a dog chasing its tail, right? We're trying to bargain, meaning we're trying to find the epic love without having to go through this attachment rupture. Maybe somehow I can know how to love in this otherworldly sort of ancient sort of capacity without going through this rupture, without getting swept up by the tornado. I'm just going to strap in. I'm going to white knuckle this son of a bitch right to the divine. That's what most people are trying to do. I'm going to white knuckle this motherfucking shit right into God's arms. So we bargain and we do it. We keep doing it. We do it. It's basically the same thing as it's Groundhog Day relationally. It's Groundhog Day every day, right? Well, maybe this person will see me. Maybe this person will be what I need. Maybe it will suddenly not be so hard. Maybe we'll be able to meet in the middle and it will work in a certain type of way. And so we keep going back. Today's the day I'm going to catch my tail. Today's the fucking day I'm going to catch my tail. But we eventually learn, no. We eventually learn we can't cheat this system. And so what we're creating restitution with is love versus attachment. In order to birth love, you guys, hear fucking this. In order to birth love to yourself and to others, you have to go through your deepest attachment trauma. In order to birth a relationship with God, you have to go through your deepest attachment trauma. What happens? It's like you're on the turbulence, right? It's like you're on the plane turbulence. You're white knuckling it. At some point, what happens when you're on that plane in the turbulence, and the turbulence gets so bad, and this is legit what happens to me because I don't like turbulence, but I eventually get to a point where I'm like, you know what? If I'm meant to die, I'm meant to die. And I kind of start to like go, I'm like, yeah, fucking turbulence, take me down, bitch. And this is literally what I do on the airplane. I'm like, yeah, fucking this plane is going down, baby. I feel it. Ooh, yeah, I feel it going down. I feel this fucking God trying to take us right down to the earth. I got some Asian woman next to me who's looking at me, and she's like looking at me, fucking scared for her life. You know, she's got being consoled by her husband, and I'm just fucking talking to the turbulence like it's a really bad itch that won't go away. I'm like, yeah, is that all you got? Come on, give me more turbulence, you know? But then at some point, what happens is the fear goes away. Some point, when I fucking just gang energy, that turbulence right out of fear, all of a sudden I move into a place of total surrender, like, let's go, let's let go. And all of a sudden, it's like the plane is rocking, but all I hear is fucking Mozart in my head. The plane is, it's like God. What happens in turbulence, I swear what it is, it's like God is playing with a toy airplane. You know what I mean? When you get turbulence, God is playing with a toy airplane. And I'm up there, and I'm listening to fucking Mozart music. Just whatever happens, I'm okay with. If today's the day, baby, then today's the day. And that's what happens relationally. You let the emotional tornado take you out, right? Flying cows, you got the tractors everywhere. You let it take you out. You let it take you out. You don't white knuckle it. You actually listen to those deeper whispers of God. And what's happening in that attachment rupture, in that karmic spiritual relationship, is you're literally trying to come in deeper union with God. Think about when you're having a hard time letting go of a relationship. You're torn. You're fighting. You're fighting God. You're in a battle with God, right? You're in a battle with your attachment is internally fighting your inner knowing. There's something inside of you that knows this is not quite right, that knows that this relationship is probably not going to be your everything. There's some part of you that knows. So not only you're fighting with God, you're fighting with yourself. This is where our fear and our intuition are trying to find balance. Think about it, you guys. You know what happens when you hear someone like this really traumatized, like, oh, I know this is my person. It's like, nah, bitch, like that's your fucking fear. You know what I mean? You know, like someone's like, yeah, it's my soulmate. You know what I mean? And they're just like a train wreck. And you're like, there's no way. Because that person's intuition and their fear, again, they're doing jujitsu. As I talked about attachment love, their fear and their intuition are on the jujitsu mat. They're wrestling, right? And so that's why so often we're like a karmic relationship. Yeah, it's my person. Yeah, we're going to get married, live happily ever after. I know it. I know it. They don't see me, but they're my person. They don't treat me well, but I fucking know they're my person. You know, we have a toxic relationship, but I fucking know they're my person. Right? And so the fear and the intuition are doing jujitsu, right? But then when we let go, when we stop white knuckling it, all of a sudden fear and intuition is like got angel wings, right? Fear is just being sucked out. You know what I mean? Imagine like fear is like being like when we let go of that attachment, it's the deepest fear in the body is just being pulled out from under us. And now We're trying to move into a more accurate resonance and relationship to our intuition, which is why we come more into union with God, which is why the crown blast opens. So when you let go of that karmic relationship, your survival scuba mask, like, you know that feeling? If you've been snorkeling or scuba diving, and all of a sudden you pull it off your face, oh, fuck, it feels good. That's the same thing as what happens is when your intuition gets stronger than your fear. Your face was fucking just getting sucked here, and then you let go of it. The fear drops out your feet, out your asshole, out your hands, goes back into the earth, and your intuition is just freed in the face. Now you go through this process of learning to reveal your expression. This is the same fucking reason why you're in a relationship and you can't be direct. You can't speak your truth because you're afraid of the rupture. You're afraid of this not working out. So you fucking hold the survival scuba mask on your face. You don't want to let go of it. You're like, who am I without this? I'm going to be in the wide open. They're actually going to see me enjoy. They're going to see the expression on my face. So we contain it here. And when you contain it here, this never opens. You stay in suffering. When you're holding a survival scuba mask, you're a dog chasing his tail like it's Groundhog Day. There we go. You're a dog chasing its tail like Groundhog Day. Repeatedly, you're holding on to the survival scuba mask. What you're doing, it's not even about this person. That's why it's so hard to let go. That's why every day you're like, maybe it will be different. Maybe. Got a good feeling. And then you keep getting dick slapped in the face. Repeatedly. Dicks to the face. A dick to the jaw. Every day. And you're like, fuck. Because you're fighting. Your fear and your intuition are doing jujitsu. Your attachment and your love is doing fucking jujitsu. But there is no winner. Imagine your attachment and love and fear and intuition doing jujitsu constantly without a break. That's what's happening. And eventually what happens is you move into just repeated suffering. Because there's something that you're fighting. There's something that you're fighting. There's some revelation and truth of God that's trying to happen. What's trying to happen is your human attachment is trying to make way to God's attachment. The stuff in your life that holds on here is trying to keep you stuck in survival. That's why things don't change in your life. That's why things are repeatedly stagnant in your life. Because you're holding on right here. You're holding on to an identity, to a pattern. Your ego is holding on to these pillars in the ocean. You're like, I'm not going to get swept up. I'm not going to get swept away. And God's just fucking blowing and trying to lead you get sucked out of the ocean. But you got these pillars of your ego that are fighting. And it's not even about this person that you're with. It's about the spiritual thing that they actually represent. And what this person, what they represent, it's a death of something. It's something that's trying to die, that's really young in you. And that person is actually a safeguard. They're a safeguard for something. The body's like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. And so by keeping cords tethered to that person, right? We keep, we're like a superhero. Like imagine a codependent superhero. If there was a codependent superhero, they would like be Spider-Man, but just they would shoot cords on other people in like codependent ways. Like I'm scared. So you just right there from your fucking belly button, just tie it on to that person. I'm just going to like fucking hold on to you. Look at this. I'm a superhero, but I'm scared. You know what I mean? I'm just like a fear-driven, codependent superhero. Fuck, that's actually a bit right there. Jesus Christ, you guys. What the fuck is going on? So it's like a codependent superhero, right? And we're like, you're not going anywhere. Basically what we're saying, I don't want to feel something. You're not going anywhere. I'm scared. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. And so we just have cords binded to people everywhere, right? That's what we do if we're like, And what it means, a codependent superhero is a superhero that is afraid of their powers. If I let go of these cords and they come back into my belly button, guess what? I'm actually going to step into my power. I'm actually going to realize my psychic spiritual gifts. Holy shit. It's like Spider-Man, right? All of a sudden he's like scaling walls and he's like, fuck this. Like, what was I doing before? Just hooking cords and everyone. What was the name of Spider-Man's chick? Was that Lois Lane or was that Batman? But it's just the cords come back to you and you're like, okay, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to allow my gifts to come. But this is what happens, you guys. A karmic relationship, what it's doing is it's trying to cut these cords that probably extend beyond our lifetime. It is trying to cut these cords that probably go deeper than our lifetime. Think about like a cord that's been here for 300 years. It's like, imagine like an anchor. Like imagine an anchor. Anchor, it's like all fucking rusty and it's got like algae from the sea on it. It's like what an ancient attachment cord is. Imagine like a really fucking rusty rope. Like it's got barnacles on it. You're like, shit, like this has been here for like a long time. You're hooking into everyone. You're hooking into everyone because you're doing it because you don't want to feel something. You don't want to feel something. And so that person, that karmic relationship, it's exposing the barnacle, the rusty ass fucking rope that extends from your belly button that you literally use to hook into people. It's exposing that rope and it's saying, hey, Jamie, guess what? We're going to cut this rusty ass rope off your belly button because you're going to come into total union with God. But I'm like, God, without an anchor, I'm just going to drift out to sea. I'm going to die. I don't have enough food, and then the seagulls are going to come and eat my fucking face. That's what you're saying. But then God's like, well, you have to surrender to this death. You have to fully surrender to this death. And so what I have to do is let these ancient sort of, these rusty ass rope coming from my belly button that really belonged to my mom that I've now fucking hooked into these chicks, I have to let it go and welcome death. The same thing that I do when I'm on that airplane and the turbulence goes and I'm like, come on, you turbulent little bitch. Is that all you got? Come on, you turbulent little bitch. And I got the Asian lady next to me being consoled by her husband, right? Being consoled by her husband because I'm literally talking to the turbulence like, bring us down, bitch. I know it's God's playing with a toy airplane right now. And I know what this is. God's playing with a toy airplane. I'm like, give it to me. Come on. That all you got? You know what I mean? And eventually I surrendered. It's the same thing as you have to surrender to death. And when those attachment cords are pulled out of my belly button, and at first it feels like I'm a boat drifting out to sea, and I'm like the seagulls, you got fucking seagulls circling you. And it's only a matter of time, but they start eating your fucking face. It's only a matter of time before they start eating your fucking face. The day is getting colder. Dusk is beginning to set in. It's coming. And you're drifting out to sea. You've released these cords. The pillars of stability that you've used to hold on to are gone. Now you're like, who the fuck am I? What is this life? What do I fucking do? Like, God, I don't know what to do. Basically, you feel like a floating fucking body. You turn into an alien. You're like, I don't have any legs. It's like I feel like an energetic paraplegic. You know what I mean? If I have legs, I don't know how to fucking use them. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't feel tethered to the ground is what I'm trying to say. I don't feel tethered to the ground. I'm like floating. I'm floating in outer space. It's terrifying. All the deepest unworthiness you've ever experienced is coming to the surface. The seagulls are circling. There's flying cows everywhere. You're like, what is this place? What is happening here? Like, what do I do? You're like, God, fucking speak to me. In 30 minutes, we want to talk about healing attachment trauma. Either it's going to pull the survival scuba mask or one of these seagulls is literally going to eat an eye out of its socket. Like, that's the two things that are going to happen. I'm either going to heal my attachment trauma or a seagull's going to eat my face. Like, this are the two paths that I feel happening. And I'm like, okay, I got to have faith here. I got to have faith that this is healing something inside of me. Something is breaking through. Eventually, I'm going to grow new legs. Eventually, I'm going to grow new legs. Something is coming. I have to trust this. And this is where we begin to move into prayer. We begin to move into the deepest possible fucking surrender of our life. We're like, I was sure about the path, but we were sure about the path from a place of fear. We were sure about the path from this like biodome contained fear entrenchment holding in the face. We couldn't have everything blasted wide open. The attachment rupture is the blast. It explodes. It rips everything out of their sockets. It rips the furniture out in the house that we built. It rips everything. And what that attachment was doing is it was keeping us within a karmic contract, probably generationally and ancestrally. And it's holding here. Oh, fuck. It's holding here. So we keep going back. Maybe it can be different. Maybe I can heal myself without having to experience my pain. Maybe I can heal myself without actually healing myself. You guys understand that? And then we realize in this process that we're being called by God. We realize in this process that we're being called by God in a way that we never anticipated or expected. What we thought was the end or the death of God was actually the beginning. The seagulls don't eat your face. God starts licking your face like a fucking dog. The seagulls don't eat your face. God starts licking your face like a fucking dog. And that fucking dog that was chasing his tail, all of a sudden, it's like in the dumb dog brain, that dog, even a dog. Like, you guys, if a dog can stop chasing its tail, you can heal your karmic relationship patterns. Even your dumb dog who keeps chasing his tail like a fucking idiot, if your dog can realize, I'm not going to fucking catch this. I'm not going to fuck. I mean, occasionally they do when they lie down and they fucking just twist one leg up. You know what I mean? And do fucking dog gymnastics. But if your dumb dog can realize, I'm not going to catch this tail, you can break free of your karmic relational patterns. And that you thought a seagull was going to start eating your face, and then it's God licking your face, but God is your dog. And it stopped chasing its tail, and you're like, holy shit. The seagulls that you thought were going to eat your face start to leave. They start to fucking just go back to their nests or wherever they live. And all of a sudden, the turbulence stops, and you're right there. You got Mozart playing in your ears, and the tornado just... And God says to you, now you get it. Now you understand. Now you understand. And it's kind of like you sign a contract. Jamie Rea, the date of the death of this contract, and you light that bitch on fire. God's like, you get it. You understand. And now you move into a whole new relationship where essentially what you're saying, I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to move into my full psychic capacity of my gifts and my spiritual powers. I'm going to allow the fear to dissolve. And now what begins to happen is the intuition rises in your body and your fucking entire body moves into all knowing. Your entire body moves into all knowing. The hair on your body stands on edge and everything lights on fire. You move into the space, you become unhinged. So much of why people hold on to this attachment trauma is they're trying to stay in fucking control. People are trying to stay fucking in control. If I let go and let the tornado take me, baby, tornado, take me away, and it's fucking chaos. Holy shit. But then what happens is you get to the inside of the tornado and you find the craziest amount of calm you've ever experienced. For those of you who've been sucked inside of a tornado or seen the movie Twisters, do you get it? You're inside the tornado and it feels like bliss, baby. It's chaos out there, but it's calm in here. All of a sudden, Mozart music starts playing. The same thing when you're on that airplane and you say, turbulent bitch, is that all you got? Is that all you got? Take me out. And in the inside of the storm, In the inside of the turbulence, you find your calm. You find your tranquility. So when you say, tornado, take me away, and you get sucked into the inside, it's chaos for a while. It's chaos. It's fucking crazy. You're like, holy shit. And then you get to the inside of that tornado and you're like, whoa, what was I afraid of? Holy shit. Start calling your friends. Dude, you got to check this shit out. You got to check this shit out. And you can hold the craziest amount of chaos. Oh, there's a tornado? Guess what? I got brand new legs and these bitch got ancient roots. They're 3,000 years old and they go right to the epicenter of the earth. If there's an earthquake, I'm going to be the first one to feel it. But it won't matter because I can hold it because I'm anchored. I'm grounded. And you get to the inside of the storm and you find peace and calm. And you heal your fucking lineage. And you docu-sign and heal this karmic relational pattern. And now your intuition light's on fire. Now your attachment and love are no longer doing jujitsu. Love taps attachment out. Boom. Fucking rear naked chokehold, love to attachment. Intuition fucking arm bars the shit out of fear. Then all of a sudden, intuition rises like a warm fire moving upstairs, right? Love becomes dominant. Now what happens is love becomes so much greater than attachment. We can actually move into true love, sovereignty, union within ourselves. We become anchored in ourselves. Now we can be discerning. Now we can be discerning because we're not moving from lack or need. We're moving from a pretty full cup, from a pretty whole, sovereign self. And everything changes here. You guys, if your dog can stop chasing his fucking tail, if your dumb dog can stop chasing its tail, you can heal your karmic relational patterns. One day you're like, fuck, guess what? God didn't intend for me to be able to catch this tail. That's why God gave me little fucking dog ribs. Because he's like, your body can't move like that. Your body can't move like that. You're fighting something. The reason why God made it so that dogs couldn't catch their tails is the same reason why your karmic relationship won't work out. It's because it's not supposed to. It's supposed to bring up and reveal what it has to so that fear can die. So that you can surrender and let go into the storm, into the turbulence, and find your calm on the inside. And so that you don't have to run away, you just have to surrender and let go. And eventually you find your home in the wild place. And now your expression becomes unhinged. The integrity of who you are screams loud. You're like, great-grandmother, great-grandfather, fuck your unwritten rules. I'm a fucking disruptor. Here's my black African child that I adopted as a former child soldier. Deal with that. But that's what happens. You're like, I'm not going to fucking play by these rules anymore. I'm going to become my own sort of energetic island. My own manifestation of my dharma. Disrupt everything. And we move into a whole new imprint. And that identity, those patterns, they just dissolve away. Intuition. Now, when we're trying to have fear in our intuition, they're not doing jujitsu anymore. Fear's right there, but fear's like a fucking midget, right? Imagine if fear was like a little midget trying to fight like a normal human being, right? And the normal human being was your intuition. And the midget was fear, right? Who do you think is going to win? I don't need to answer that. You guys know. And so that's what happens. Fear doesn't go away, but it just turns into a little person, right? It becomes a little person. You're like, fear, I see you, but I know you're only 2 feet tall. Guess what? I'm 6'5". And so shit changes, right? And so now you can trust your intuition more. You don't get swayed into these fucking trauma bonds or these twin flames that are literally going to burn your inside like you have 3rd-degree burns. No. Your intuition gets stronger. And now love gets greater. Attachment dissolves. It disintegrates like sand. Imagine in those movies when you You stab like a zombie and then they just like turn into sand. Like that's what happens with fear. It just turns into sand. And now you actually have the capacity to love and you actually heal that karmic pattern for your lineage. What you thought was going to kill you actually saved you. Your greatest fear became your greatest liberation. Now you move into this place where God's like, yeah, Jamie, you figured it out, baby. You figured it out, baby. And now my crown opens and the angels flood through. And we're able to create movement in somewhere that was historically stagnant. And we're able to move more towards the sacred union timeline. More importantly, we're able to move into divine union with ourselves. True fucking union with ourselves. And now we shift from a human attachment, rips off this survival scuba mask, and all of a sudden we get a fucking halo. Rips off the survival scuba mask, gives us a fucking halo. Now we move into the God attachment system. Now we belong to angels. Now we don't have this fear trying to contain us. Ugh, I got you trapped, Rose. This fear containing us. It explodes. This is what happens. Attachment rupture. We fucking white knuckle it. Let go. Let go. Let go. Now in this space, we truly move onto God's timeline. And now fear doesn't contain us. Now we can move into our psychic spiritual gifts. And in this breaking apart, everything starts to happen and our body gets it. Oh yeah, you get it. Where someone sees a storm, someone else sees paradise. Where someone sees a tornado, someone else sees the bliss in the middle of the storm. That calm in the middle of the chaos. Welcome to God. What you thought was going to be the death and end of God was actually the beginning. What you were fighting was actually your freedom. What you were fighting was actually your freedom. It just didn't come in the way that your ego wanted. The way you were fighting your freedom. It just didn't come in the way that your ego wanted it to. And as you learn to not fight against your freedom, you actually learn what your freedom really is. And you actually start to build the capacity in your body to be able to hold your freedom. What you were actually fighting was your freedom, your bliss, your joy. You were fighting against what you actually desired. Your ego was fighting against what you desired. It just was coming in a different form or package than your ego knew through the reality that it had constructed. And so eventually at some point when you stop fighting the turbulence and you let the turbulence overwhelm you and consume you, you find God in the middle of it and you find the freedom that you were seeking through relationship. You find the freedom that you were seeking and fighting uphill in that karmic relationship that you were afraid to let go of. You find it in the middle. You're like, oh shit, I get it. I understand. Boom. Code drops into your body. Now you heal some of your biggest karmic relational patterns. And you really, really fucking start to get it now. You really, really start to get it now. And you finally learn that you can be free and your energetic container expands and you really, really start to feel free in your body. Your energetic field and your energetic container starts to feel absolutely fucking free. And you'll know it because your energy will start to light on fire, but you have to go through the deepest gauntlet of your deepest possible fear. You have to go through the deepest gauntlet of your deepest possible fear. You have to be sucked into the heart of the tornado. You have to tell that turbulence, take me down, bitch. Is that all you got? You have to allow God to pull off that survival scuba mask. Rip it off your face. You have to float like an energetic paraplegic into the center of the ocean, thinking that seagulls might eat your face, when really you find out it's God licking your face and it's your dog that stopped chasing its tail. If your dog can stop chasing its tail, then guess what, daddy? You can heal from your karmic relational patterns. If your dumb dog can stop chasing that tail, then you know how to heal your karmic relational patterns. You just have to surrender to what is true and real in reality. Dogs weren't meant to be able to catch their tails in their mouths, and God intended it that way. It intended you to realize you don't have to fight uphill to be loved, to be seen. That when you can surrender to the truth of that reality, you actually finally open yourself up to the love that you crave, that you've longed for, and you actually fucking deserve. All right. What just happened there, you guys? Whew. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Speaking of chaos, there was definitely some chaos in that, which is probably pretty fitting for the topic that we discussed. If you guys enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, please don't give it a thumbs down. If you have a friend that might resonate with, please send this to them and tell them that you won't speak to them again until they've watched this. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Yeah, this was insane. You guys, if you're watching this is about like the most godly on point tone. It's like fucking where stand-up meets like a sermon. Like storytelling. Oh God, that felt good. Fuck, that felt good. Because it's like God was like I feel me doing this was like God shaking his booty. He's like shaking he's fucking twerking, shaking his booty. That's what I felt. All right, much love, everyone. Hope you guys have a good week. And yeah, we'll see you guys all soon. Much love, everyone. Peace, love, harmony, and go fuck yourselves.